If you've come across my videos before, you probably know that this is a dating related channel. This is a 7-inch custom-built FPV Cinelifter drone. It's a high-quality SLR camera on top of a 7-inch drone that I control with FPV goggles. And each and everything about this drone is designed by myself. I had to choose the right components, electronics. The camera in and of itself I bought specifically entirely for this drone. So I had to make sure the weight is right, the lens is right, and everything about this drone just has to be right. And it was an arduous journey, which took me days and weeks and months, if you want, including all the preparation of learning about this stuff, electrical engineering, aerodynamics, and so on and so forth. I like to wrap my head around complicated topics, same as psychology, biology, exercise physiology, anatomy, all these things. I'm not telling you this to bore you or to flex my intellectual knowledge. I'm telling you this to make a point. I'm a very nerdy individual. I've always been. But you know, maybe, that this is a dating related channel. Meaning, I'm also very much interested in dating. And not just in the theoretical aspect of it, I actually like to meet women. It is a personality trait of mine that you could argue goes against this nerdy side of myself. As the title suggests though, I would confidently say that this is something that actually only enhances my chances with women. Me being nerdy in aspects that absolutely don't interest any girl out there. And it's true, most women don't give a damn about your interests at all. And this is fine. This is perfectly okay. You don't have to find someone who's into the same stuff as you. You have to be on one level to some extent when it comes to intelligence. So when you speak about something that is maybe a little complicated, she's able to understand it, and vice versa. Every time I met someone who's into the exact same things as me, it becomes a little too platonic, too fast, and there's not that much attraction left. I make this video to give you a little bit of hope, because the chances are high that you're not the most extroverted individual out there, that you're not the most socially adapted one, that you're just not that good with the opposite gender. Everything about this, what it describes, probably speaks to the fact that you're also a little bit of a nerdy individual, that you have hobbies which are very, very unattractive in the traditional sense. If you start to talk about this stuff to a girl in the same excitement that you have, she will not be interested in you at all whatsoever. That is, if she's a little bit of a sexy individual. Being nerdy, having sex appeal, that doesn't really go hand in hand. Okay, it's more of an emotional, intelligent based set of skills versus a very, very cognitive kind of approach. Talking to a girl is very different than understanding maths and science. The most important factor here though is that you strike a balance. You cannot be extremely heavily invested in your nerdy side of life and totally disregard the social intelligence, extroverted, human side of yourself. It will never work. I can sit on the floor all day, wreck my head with how to build a certain type of drone, how to program it so it flies properly, but then at the end of the day, I'll leave it all behind and go to the gym and pump some iron. This is a very physically intense hobby that I have. It results in a good physique, and it ultimately definitely helps with the ladies. If I wouldn't have that, it would be so much more difficult. It would almost be impossible. I'm only interesting because I have both sides. You're really trying to build a wholesome personality, and that will then in return be very attractive. And in general in life, it's always about playing to your strengths. Own up to the fact that you're a little bit of a brainy guy, that you're deeply interested in these topics, that they give you a deep sense of satisfaction and pleasure, that you enjoy sitting around for hours and hours wrapping your head around these topics. It's an absolute superpower that also very easily results in a financial gain and status in a certain subgroup of individuals. Still, there are a few things that I personally think are just genuinely unattractive to the opposite gender. These things can be related to things that really don't have any yield in the real physical world that women exist in primarily. We men oftentimes exist in a very brainy, conceptual world. Mathematics, business, technology, science, all this stuff is all a mental construct that doesn't really, flesh and bones. But certain things that are just not attractive, I would say the number one thing that everybody always hates on is video games. You can really mess up your chances with women if you play video games all day long, if you're extremely interested in alternative realities that truly don't exist. Let's say World of Warcraft, all this damn lore about the fictional world. We can think about Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, all these rules in there. Again, with everything in life, you will find women that exactly reflect and appreciate this nerdiness. And I've seen geeks and nerds having these type of relationships. But if you ask me, I couldn't stand it, because then these women oftentimes are not really balanced. They don't appreciate physical exercise. They don't appreciate actually looking good. Same as the guys that are like this. They don't look after themselves. Look at all these fat Dungeons and Dragons players, long hair, greasy as hell. Absolutely not appealing. And that's always the case when you go down a rabbit hole too far. Don't be interested in these things that legitimately don't exist, that only exist in your mind as a world that you're trying to escape to. Women don't like escapism. They like a man who acts in the real world. Even if they don't themselves work towards it, they find it the most attractive, because this is what we selected for over the evolution of the human species. What does yield intangible effects in the real world? Oftentimes being nerdy doesn't. For me, it does. I get gigs flying my drone. I get money with that stuff. I benefit from it heavily. I have a videography job. I make money with this stuff. I travel the world. Could be worse. I could also sit at home somewhere where I grew up in and be obsessed about video games. And spoiler alert, this was my life for a long time. I was really into it and I didn't see anything wrong with it because I enjoyed it. But certain things you're just not supposed to enjoy. I'm sorry to tell you that, but certain things are just not practically beneficial to anything in life. So if you're like this, please consider getting a different hobby. If you're into other things, let's say music production, drawing, journaling, writing, actual hobbies that strike a deep interest of yours, that really get your gears going, perfect, awesome. All you got to do now is offset this a little bit with a more rounded personality, and I can tell you women will fall in love with you. This is why women love guitarists, because yes, they have the technical ability, but they also usually know how to use their voice. They know how to sing. They have a very emotional counter to this very technical aspect of playing the guitar. If you're able to combine many aspects of life into one personality, this is the best thing you can do. Now if you make money, now if you care about your looks, you have the best chances there are with women. And again, why I think it's actually a benefit for you to be nerdy, to have hobbies, it's mainly because you're able to enjoy yourself by yourself with yourself. You cannot care about women at all. There are things in life that interest you so deeply that you will forget about the opposite gender, which ultimately also to a large extent will result in abundance, non-neediness. You're not dependent on women for your luck, joy, and pleasure in life. Of course, we always are to some extent, and I don't know what type of robots you're trying to build, but they will not be able to satisfy your sexual pleasures. But still, you're going to be able to keep yourself mentally engaged for hours on end, something that many people are not able to. Most people just scroll on Instagram forever and ever, have no hobbies, no skill, nothing to go for them, and then in return also don't really have the most social skills, which is very unfortunate, and most of it will not result in a very dating effective personality. There's nothing more interesting than a guy who has hobbies, genuine hobbies, that he loves himself. Again, with the caveat that it actually yields in some tangible results. Obviously, just easing your mind of something is still tangible to some extent if it results in effectiveness in another area of life. For example, I care a lot about health and sleep and meditation, but this is something I find a lot of confidence in. I don't go out that late, even if a girl wants to see me. I'm like, I gotta sleep. Sorry, it's too late. I'm already tired as hell. It's not gonna result in a great sexual experience anyways. I'm just not gonna do it. There's money to be made the next day. There's hobbies to go after the next day. And this means something to me. I've got a spine. I've got a personality. I've got things that I care about outside of being with women, which is extremely important. You're not dependent on their whims. You're not dependent on their mood. You're not dependent on their liking of you even. Brother, I couldn't care less if I'm getting rejected by a girl. Like, yes, she's beautiful and she might suck a good dick, but whatever, bro. I can go home, I can journal, I can care about my sleep, I can find my peace, and then the next day, start again with a better mentality, stronger mindset. Find strength in that. Find confidence in something that is oftentimes regarded as not interesting. Guess what? Nerds rule the world. They make billions and millions when they program a proper app. Of course, please try to offset that with actual social intelligence. Because even if you have the most amount of money, even if you're Bill Gates, you're still a bum, you're still fat, you're still not sexy. This is the caveat to all of this. As always in life, it's about balance. And I hope that you can find it. And if you like this content, please make sure to subscribe. If you leave a comment, I will definitely answer. If you have any questions, make sure to drop it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you go out there and crush it, go after your nerdy hobbies, and enjoy yourself. In that regard, have a good day.